guys, hope you're doing good. So in this video, I'd love to talk about something that's not talked about a lot, and I also have made this mistake. And that mistake is teaching y'all how to solve problems without showing you guys how it interconnects with every single component of your business. What do I mean by that? Okay, I mean, I'm going to teach you how to solve appointment setting. I'm going to teach you how to solve offer creation, price to value discrepancy. I'm going to show you how to solve fulfillment. I'm going to show you how to solve sales. But I'm only solving it as if it's like a one thing. As if once you solve it, then everything is perfect. When in fact, just because you're good at booking meetings does not mean you can run a successful business. Just because you're good at building offers does not mean you're going to build an amazing business or a sustainable business. Just because you can sell does not mean that you're great at business building, right? And what this creates is that it creates entrepreneurs who are only great at one of the components or one of the skill sets that is actually required for you to build an amazing, beautiful, fun, cash flowing business. Okay? In today's video, I'd love to show you how I've personally been able to solve everything, and not solve it from just like, hey, I need more meetings type of mindset or perspective, but solve everything together. Okay? And the reason why today the subject of this video came up is because so we have a recent client, a friend of mine, who recently signed up for a program, paid 18 grand to join, and you know, we just got off a call, and he's like, hey Serge, like, you know, things are starting to pick up. You know, he has an e-commerce agency. He helps e-commerce brands. Just for context, he has appointment setters doing the lead sourcing, I believe, and then he's doing a lot of email outreach, and he's booking 5 meetings a day. Okay. Now the issue is he's doing the closing himself. Okay. Not only that, but he has a centralized business, meaning everything has to go back to him. He's the decision maker, right? He has to make decisions on the front end. He has to make decisions on the back end. And what that ends up creating is, it ends up creating something that you guys have probably seen. It ends up creating ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, up and down, up and down, you know, peaks and troughs, right? And I cannot tell you how much annoying or how annoying it is when you know that you have an amazing service, you know how to book meetings, you probably know how to close deals, but somehow you're never consistently doing the same numbers or the same and better consistently every month, okay? And in today's video, I'd love to show you guys how to think about business so that you never have to have issues with consistency, okay? Because I'm sure you guys know that it doesn't matter how much money you make today or this month or this year. If you cannot make it for months, years ahead, like, you're not special, you know, you're not really an amazing business builder. Okay, so today I'm going to show you guys how to solve that issue, which is how to avoid ups and downs. Okay, and I'll even show you guys my stripe, right? So if you guys see, there has been some ups and downs, right? If you look at here, I think I did show you guys last video that I made, like, I don't know if I did, but yeah, I did show you guys that, you know, when I was growing, so I quit my job in July, July 2020. I was like, hey man, I'm tired of this fucking job and paying me 30K a year. I'm like, you know, worst case scenario, I'll lose 30K a year, but I don't want to lose the possibility to ever make 30K a month, right? And then, so I created a good offer, started, you know, doing appointment setting here. Scaled it to 19K, did this, and then boom, a dip, right? Now this dip did not happen because I couldn't sell more. I just think I had hit I had hit fulfillment wise versus the amount of money I was making. I was working way too much for the amount of money I was making. And you know what I did? I decided to shut down a 30K a month business, right? Well, technically shut it down. I only kept like 10 clients or 5 clients, and I went back to 13K. Most people will never do such a decision. Do you know why? Because they're so sold on making money, they're so incentivized to make more money, that they never think ahead. They never think of, hey man, like, yes, I'm making 30K a month now, but is it all that I want to settle for? Do I think that I'm only worth 30K a month, right? If you never ask yourself this question, guess what? You'll keep sacrificing today, this month, focus time to make money when you could step back a little bit. Lose 15 grand, 30 grand. I think that if I had continued making sales, I could have hit 50K from May to June. I could have made June a 50K a month, right? So technically, I did not just go from 28K to 13K, but I went from a potential of making 50K to 13K a month, okay? But do you know why I did that? Because my business it didn't have the infrastructure to be able to have the thing that I said before, to allow me to make a whole bunch of money while having fun doing it. I could make money, but I was not having fun. I had like a bunch of clients wake up, hey, this is happening, oh my, this has happened. Like, I wasn't happy, okay? So as a decision maker, I thought about this. I was like, hey, how are people making 300 grand a month? And I'm here about to literally have my brain explode, and I'm only making 30K a month. How does that make sense? I'm not dumb. I could figure it out. So you know what I did is I decided to shut down the appointment setting, and I transitioned to the consulting model. But the thing that I want to point out is, whether it be an agency, whether it be the consulting model, that's not really the point of this video. But even as an agency owner, you don't need to necessarily go to the consulting model to increase your throughput, okay? Now, what I did, or let me show you another example. If you look at here, I had already switched, right? But if you look at here, I made 46K, 42K, and then it dipped to 30K. Do you know why it dipped to 30K? Because I ended up sacrificing not taking sales calls, right? I got to a moment where I was like, oh my God, I'm having way too many sales calls. Which is the current situation that's happening with my client that I just mentioned. He's figured out a great offer. He's figured out a great service delivery, but he's taking sales calls himself, right? But, you know, he's still taking the calls, right? So actually, let me go back into building businesses. Okay, I'll go back to the example because right now I can't relate it back to that example. So let me start with this first, okay? So when you're building a business, in order for you to have an amazing business that cash flows and you're happy doing it, you actually have a business, you're not in the business, you need to have a few things. One, you need a great offer, right? An offer that is not just needed, but it's actually wanted by the marketplace, okay? And everything that you see here, everything that you'll see here under each area of the business, if you're not good at solving it, you will have pain. Pain will be delivered to you, your life, and you'll start having gray hairs, okay? Now, the thing that I want to show you is that, first things first, for your offer, solve it, okay? The next thing that could be a bottleneck is if you're not providing a lot of value to your prospects, to your customers, okay? Meaning, if you can't deliver enough value, guess what? People will keep leaving, okay? Your price may also be another bottleneck, meaning, if you think that, oh, Serge said, hey, price, charge high ticket, and then you just start charging 10 grand to everyone, but no one wants to buy it, that could also be a bottleneck, okay? So when it comes to the front end and when it comes to the thing you're selling, make sure it's something that's wanted, make sure it's something valuable, like the value to price discrepancy needs to be as extended as possible, right? There needs to be enough room for people to never have to question your price, okay? Now, the next thing that you need to do, which is where most people actually struggle. Well, I think that not necessarily here, but most people will struggle here, both of these areas, acquisition and fulfillment, okay? So right now, as an example to my client, Justin, he's figured out acquisition, okay? But not all acquisition. He's figured out marketing, he's figured out the appointment setting process, lead sourcing, the right acquisition channel for his niche, which is he's sourcing leads and using emails, okay? He's figured out content, he's producing content consistently, okay? But what he has yet to figure out is the sales and conversion part, okay? Meaning he's still here. But the issue is, as a business owner, even if he has all these things figured out, as well as this, he cannot scale because of this one thing. Okay? And the reason is because a business is a system. Okay? If you know anything about systems throughput, and this is why it's so important to think in systems. Let's see system theory. Systems theory is the interdisciplinary study of systems, cohesive. Every system. Okay, check this out. Every system is bounded by space and time, influenced by its environment, defined by its structure and purpose, and expressed through its functioning. Okay, I'll try to use it in my word, or I'll try to define it in my own words. A system is only as good as its subsystems or its parts, right? And it's impacted, or it's influenced by every little thing of the business. So that means that to actually have a business, you have to have everything perfect. Until you do, it is your duty and your job to make sure that you're not just good at offers, you're not just good at marketing, you're not just good at sales, but you're also good at fulfillment. You're also good at onboarding. You're also good at communicating. You're also good at delivering the promise that you promise to your prospects. Okay? So when you see guys like Alex Hormozi or guys like Jeff Bezos, these are not guys that just are good at offers. They're not just good at acquisition. They're not just good at fulfillment. They're good at seeing the system and solving each single component of the actual business. Okay? So, let me go back to my own scenario. Okay? I was making 40K a month here, right? 40K, 42K. I was making the sales. I was building the product, consulting the clients, taking the sales calls, closing deals. Oh yeah, I'm a closer. I'm an amazing closer. Oh my God, I'm killing it. 50K a month. I'm 22, balling. You know, I'm like, wow, everything. Life is so good. I could probably go buy a Ferrari today, right? But do you know what? No, I was not happy. I was stressed. Okay. So do you know what I did? I was like, hey guys, I'm done. I'm done. I know how to make money, but I'm not a business owner yet. So do you know what I did? I took a step back, lost probably 20K in revenue from September to October. And do you know what I did? I took a step back and thought of building systems and hiring people. Okay? And that's when Hassan was hired. And do you know what I did? I spent 2 weeks training Hassan. Not just training them, right? I spent time building assets, right? Assets like this, right? So I'll try to show you guys ramp up video recordings. Look at this, guys. This is the type of stuff that, nobody will tell you, but like you need assets, okay? So what I did was I started getting on calls with people. I hired a growth team. And one of the good people was in that growth team was Hassan, right? But the good thing is that Hassan was part of our client, or was part of our clients, right? So he was part of our program. So the good thing is that I didn't have to train him as much. He was already a believer in the product, right? And I spent these are 2 hours trainings, okay? It's not even gonna load, and I have like 1 gigabyte of speed, right? So it's really long. It's a movie. So I trained everyone on the product, on the outbound prospecting, on all that good stuff, right? And I built stuff like, why do people buy our product, right? I built stuff like this. And because, do you know why I had to build it? Is because I did not have to be the one who's good in my business. I needed a way to duplicate myself. And the only way I could duplicate myself is if I duplicated and I was able to communicate the knowledge that I have. I needed to get my little ideas and my little thought process out of here, okay? Because I myself am I cannot produce 10 million a year alone. I need to build a business that can produce 10 million a year. And one of the first thing is I need more people who are smarter than I am. And I just need to give them the mission, the understanding of the service, okay? So I built this Why You Work sheet. What do we do? What's the story? What's everything? Why do we do what we do? Okay, what we do. Okay, and look at the impact that it had. So we dipped from 30K a month, and then boom, 60K. Woo! Almost doubled the revenue from one single decision. And do you know what? Not only did I make 60 grand from 30K the month before, I worked 70% less. That's what I want you to understand. It's not about how hard I work. If you come in my business, I'm probably the least smart person on the team, right? Because I understood one thing. I don't want to be the smartest. I'm just trying to make some money. So it's like, make a decision on what you want. If your ego, it requires you to be the guy who's in the trenches, doing the deals, closing the deals, booking the appointments, all this stuff, okay, cool. Then consider yourself a worker, okay? A worker who makes good money. But if you want to be a business builder, you got to realize that it takes a few things. You need systems. You need people. People, the most important thing. You need people because even these systems have to be built by someone. Meaning you always need more people. Okay? So, but it did not stop here, right? We also hit another breaking point, right? If you look at here, we 60K and then we dipped to 38K. Well, I guess we just did because of really two things. One, December is a slow month. But two, appointment setting issues. We did not have enough people burning the market, spamming people, right? But we ended up coming back to 60K the month after. And then we ended up dipping to 54K. And this is when I realized, like, hey, there is an issue with our appointment setting size or the team, or the growth team. And that's when I doubled, or actually I think I 4x the size of our growth team. And then from February, we went from 54K to 97K, and then we dipped a little bit. And this dip came from us improving our service. We needed to stop like onboarding so many clients, because from, when you go from 54K to onboarding almost over 100K, and this is just collected, that means our revenue was like 140K, right? So because we give people split pays and stuff like that, so we're always making more than what's collected. But we had to step back because we were in pain, right? We were in pain, dip pain, right? We needed to figure out a way to fulfill. But one thing that I didn't talk to you about is that fulfillment is really a test of really one thing. It's not just the onboarding, it's not just the communication, it's not just the delivery, but it's the speed at which you do everything. The speed at which you onboard people, the speed at which you communicate. If you're not communicating with your clients every single day, or just making sure that you're paying attention to them, trust me, in their mind, they're like, hey, after this month, I'm gonna fucking get a refund, or I'm gonna cancel this bullshit, right? Because I pay people. I know how I think. I know when I'm giving people, 5K, 10K, 20K a month, I'm like, oh, whoa. I have to re-question every time that I pay them, right? But communication facilitates that. It just makes it makes me forget. So if you show me love, I'm gonna forget that I'm paying you a whole bunch of money. Okay? But anyway, that's that. And then delivery of the promise, you also need to be speeding that thing up. Okay? So all in all, I think that as a decision maker, let me show you guys. Let me show you what a business should look like. What's the funnel? 5 days. I think it's this one. Oops, no, 5 days. Yeah, I think it's this one. Yeah, okay, perfect. Let me show you guys what it should look like, okay? Actually, I'll screenshot this thing. And then I'll show you guys how to actually scale your company effortlessly and remove all the ups and downs, okay? Because that's how I did it. Give me a second. All right, so let's get back to it. So check this out. So once you figure out your offer, okay, and once you figure out most of the acquisition and most of the fulfillment, what you need to do is you need to ask yourself this, okay? Every single area of your business, there should be multiple hires, okay? You should have a decision maker. You should have smart labor. You should have labor, okay? So what's the difference? Labor for people like who do, let's say like VAs, okay? People who just do stuff, repetitive tasks, things that are not really, that you don't need crazy skill to actually pull off, right? Smart labor are people like systems integrators, consultants, people who media buyers, sales experts, right? Those are smart labor. And then on top of that, you need what you call decision makers, okay? The reason why you need decision makers is because you don't build a business if you have to make a decision on where everything, on everything that happens, okay? I don't have to make a decision on, I don't know, like, hey, should we use this piece of content to reach out to this prospect? No, I don't want to make a decision on that. Why would I spend my life making a decision that it's not specific. It's not worth my time, essentially, okay? There are decisions that are not worth your time as a business owner, okay? The only thing I should be spending my time on is, where are we taking the business? Are we fulfilling and delivering results? And are we making money? And can we go to Spain for a mastermind and drink some wine in September? Okay? That's the only decision that I should be making. Okay? But everything else should be delegated to people under me. And the reason why it's good to have people under you is because it removes the ups and downs. Because check this out. This is what happens when you don't have decision makers in your company. Okay? You're like, hey, we need to change up our offer. So now you spend 1 week trying to improve your offer, right? You're learning from Alex Hormozy, you're learning from Serge, you're learning from Sam Evans, you're learning from some guy that, from a guy's book. But then guess what? What ends up happening is that your content creation struggles. So it dips. And then when it dips, it also ends up having an impact on the appointment setting efforts. And then when your appointment setting efforts stop, then your sales also dry up, right? And then what happens? You're alarmed. You're like, oh my God, this month we didn't make any money. And then guess what? You're like, okay guys, let me go back to content. Let me go back to appointment setting. And let me go back to improving sales. And then guess what? The next month, you make a whole bunch of money. But then what ends up happening is that you're like, oh my God, we have so many clients we can't fulfill. What do we do? And then guess what? You're stuck in another month trying to solve delivery. And then the next month, you don't make any sales. You're like, what the hell? What's going on? And then you're like, oh, Serge told me to build a growth team. So then you end up building a growth team. And then boom, a bunch of meetings, right? And then you go back to selling, boom, a whole bunch of customers again. But then you forgot that the month before, you had fulfillment issues. But because you don't think in systems and you don't think that everything influences everything, you're not solving the core issues. You're not solving something for, how do we call it again? How do we say it again? Solve it once and for all. You're not doing that. You're just solving things as if it's in a vacuum, as if it just lives in its own little world, it's its own little universe, meaning, oh, this is hurting me, let me solve it. But you don't understand that, like, yeah, if you solve appointment setting, you're not going to necessarily have a successful business because you still have a fulfillment issue, right? Now, the solution here is let me show you how you do it, okay? You find labor, growth team, you put them on the appointment setting, okay? Once you're done, that means that you've solved that issue forever. Because now because growth team, keyword team, you're not relying on one single appointment setter, okay? Team. You just solved attention, right? Generating attention, right? Content, you do it. You cannot delegate that, okay? You do the content. So now we solved attention. So I'm putting out a piece of content. I have my group team, 500, 750 DMs every day. So I'm like, okay, that's one problem down. Now what's the next thing I do? Okay, perfect. I need sales. I cannot close deals. Because, yeah, I can do it, but I don't want to be doing it. Okay? Perfect. Smart labor. Find an expert at sales, or find someone who's had some experience within sales. Train them on your product to build something like the why you worksheet. You know, if you ever join our program, it'll help you build it out. And then you just push them through it, okay? And then you're going to do something like this, where you have, you know, a bunch of training. I'll show you guys how to ramp up a team, a sales team if you want. But then you train them, and then you give him access to 4 calls. If you close a deal, then you give him all the calls, okay? And then if you end up having so many calls, then you may need to introduce a discovery call, okay? Meaning you qualify people, and then if they're qualified, then you send them to the closer, okay? But the good thing is that you have a growth team. So that means that if you ever need to promote someone to a discovery call, you can always pick from your growth team, okay? Now, we just solved acquisition. Content building, appointment setting, acquisition. A lot of people sending DMs every single day. You're like, hey, you're bothering me. If you're getting hate every day, you're doing amazing. Great job, okay? Most people who don't have haters are broke anyway, so good job. The next thing, you've solved sales, okay? Now, now the next thing is, that could be a bottleneck, is fulfillment, okay? So now you go back and you're like, okay, I'm not just going to build SOPs. I'm going to hire someone who can build the SOPs, okay? So you're like, okay, I need a smart labor person. Then you would put them in each thing: onboarding, communication, delivery. So you would hire a media buyer, you would hire a consultant to onboard your customers and consult your clients. You would hire a project manager to communicate with your clients, okay? Now, once that's done, you need a decision maker to overview everyone who's in that subsystem, okay? The reason why you want to do that is because even when you've hired people and they're in each segment of your business, they're managing each component, they still need to be managed, because people, like the last thing I talked about, is the second law of thermodynamics. If people are left alone, they become crazy. They do the wrong shit consistently, okay? But guess what? You need to be a business owner, okay? So guess what? The next thing is you build another system to manage the other systems, okay? So that's when you start hiring decision makers. Now, decision makers create the outcomes in your business. So meaning, for me, I have growth, like a growth consultant, a leader of acquisition, right? And I'm like, hey, let me know what we need to do. Even though I could come in and step in and be like, hey, 500K a month, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. This is a new acquisition channel. Even if I can do that, I don't do it. I let him step in. I give him a piece of the pie, okay? I pay him well. And I'm like, hey, I need everyone to be performing as if they were on, I was about to say on crack, but I need them to perform. I need them to be inspired. I need them to know. I need you to improve their skill sets. If they're a 7 out of 10, I want you to turn them into 10 out of 10, okay? But that's your duty, and your compensation is based on this area of the business improving, okay? So I'm like, hey, I need this done. And then they go in and then they set up outcomes, and then they go in and set up everything that they need to do, okay? So they manage the team, they set up objectives, all that good stuff, okay? And then same thing, I would hire a decision maker for fulfillment too, to overview that, right? And guess what? That's when you become a business owner, okay? That's when life becomes really good. That's when you have a system that produces cash, man. And that's when you become free. And for us, that's what has helped us go from 97K, 80K, blah, 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 to 183K. I did not do this myself, guys. I can't do this myself. I cannot take 400 sales calls a month. What? I cannot do that myself. I cannot book 300 calls a month. I cannot do it. I cannot fulfill for 100 customers, 300 customers myself, right? And guess what? The funny thing is, people in each segment are better than me at what they do. Why? Because they do it more often than I do it. So they're actually chilling. They're good. They're like, they get. So like, you know, and then this is how you avoid ups and downs. Like for me, it's rare. Of course, we're going to have ups and downs, but they're not going to be as dramatic as going from 60K to 30K. Like it's not going to work out, right? It's never going to be like, oh, we made 150K this month and then we made 50K the next month. It's not going to happen. Why? Because everything is stacked in a way that, like, if these people don't perform, this guy is responsible for them not performing. And if this guy does not make this team perform, then they're responsible to this person. And they have to, you know, come and report to this person. Now, if these people don't perform, then they have to report to me, and then I have to solve it, right? But the good thing is, there are a lot of people. There is a lot of brains, meaning they can solve the shit themselves, okay? Same thing for acquisition, same thing for fulfillment, okay? And this is the step by step that nobody's talking to you about. Nobody's talking to you about how to actually build a business. They're just telling you, oh, book 100 meetings a month. Oh, book, oh, here's the offer. But it's like, yeah, what if I gave you an amazing offer? Then what? Okay, then you know how to book meetings. Then what? Okay, let's say you know how to fulfill for 5 clients. Can you fulfill for 500? No, you cannot. So you cannot go to that next level, right? Business is a set of steps. And it's levels. There's levels to this game. And if you want to be respected, you better not settle for the level where you're at. Okay? Because, you know, just like, you know, we respect LeBron, you know, when you go into business and you just say, hey, I'm making 10K a month, it's like, okay, good job, bro. But it's like, you know, you gave up. You gave up on leveling up, okay? And my goal is to show you guys how to level up. If you ever join our program, I'm not just going to show you how to book appointments, man. What? Come on, man. I can hire someone in 2 days to take care of all your appointment setting issues, okay? So always think in systems. Always see the full picture. See everything as a whole. And don't just solve this. Don't just solve more meetings. Because you know that, okay, if I get a lot of meetings, then it's going to affect this other system. And if the system, the throughput is not high, if it's just like this, then I can only get these amount of sales. But I need to always make sure that if I increase this throughput here, I need to also increase the throughput on here, okay? And if I increase the throughput on sales, because I increase it on appointment setting, I need to also increase it on fulfillment, okay? So you always got to be a step ahead. It's like right now, you know, let's say the issue with Justin is that he solved appointments, but guess what? His sales, it's still capped like this, okay? But what he doesn't realize is that there will never be the right time to increase the throughput here. The time is now. Because the future, if you don't build systems today, is going to hurt you tomorrow. So what you do is you take a pay cut, you build the throughput, you increase the throughput of the system, and then you take a step back. And then now everything is just moving through like just sliding, you know, like on ice, you know. And for me, that has been the amazing thing, is like I've realized that at first I thought I had to be the smartest person, and I had to be the marketer, I had to be the closer, I had to be this. But I realized that like all I really want is I want a nice car, I want a nice place, I want to travel to see beautiful people, maybe beautiful women. To see friends. I have a lot of friends now outside, everywhere, UK, London. So I love to travel whenever I want to, right? I want to take care of my family and not have any financial limitation on how much I can love and take care of my family. If someone wants to go to Rwanda tomorrow, but their job does not allow them to be able to just travel whenever they want, I'm like, hey, I'll pay for you. Go whenever you want, you know? It's no worries, you know? I want to be able to fly in a jet. I'd love to make love on a jet, you know? I'd love to experience life at its fullest. But then I'm like, why am I selling? Why am I booking meetings? Why am I doing anything that I don't want to be doing? Okay? And then if you really make a decision on what you want out of life, instead of thinking that you have to sell, instead of thinking that you have to fulfill, instead of thinking that you have to be the best media buyer, which is stupid, you don't. Jeff Bezos has never packed a box in his life. Maybe the last time he did it was in 2000 when he built Amazon, or maybe 1997. But I promise you, by the time he got a little bit of money, he delegated that shit. Because that was not his purpose. Nobody's purpose is to build a business and keep packing boxes. And I promise you, there are people who run product brands who still pack their boxes. And do you know what they tell themselves? Is that I'm the best box packer. Like, I'm the best at putting this box together. And that's the lie they tell themselves. And that's why they're going to be broke. And that's why when the recession hits, when people are like, hey, you have to pay us 20 grand to work with us, they're crying all the time. Do you know why? Because they remained small. They were afraid to give up a little bit of the pie, right? Now, let me tell you, would you have rather have been the Serge that was doing 40K a month or 60K a month? Or would you rather have been Serge, who's here, who doesn't have to book meetings, who doesn't have to take sales calls, who doesn't have to onboard customers, who doesn't have to do anything? The only thing he does all day is just fucking goes on YouTube and talks shit, right? Like I'm doing right now. Which one would you rather be? Would you rather be the 40K Serge or the 180K Serge? Right? And make 130K profit. Last month I made 100K, 30K profit, right? So that's what you guys don't understand, is that even when you end up giving up a piece of the pie size ends up getting larger. Meaning, even if you lost 30% in margins, you gained an extra 100 grand in revenue, in top line. So your 70% of 30K became 40% of 200K a month. That's what I want you to think about, okay? This video was really long because it's not just enough for me to just tell you like, oh, here's how you hire people. No, I need to actually use stories and to help you understand it, okay? And I care about this because you're not going to be free if you just stick to just being a skilled person. You need to be good at leading people. You need to be good at inspiring people. You need to be good at building systems. Understanding systems has probably been one of the most important things, right? Just understanding how everything connects with each other has been the most amazing thing that I could ever, do. So operation is really good to understand, because once you understand operation, you kind of understand operation of everything in the business. Because people don't understand it, but it's like fulfillment is not the only operations. Like operation is sales, is appointment setting. It's like everything that you have to set up. Okay, so hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, comment below. Let me know what was the most valuable thing that you got from this video. And yeah, if you ever want to work with us, I think I can change your life. So yeah, book a chat. The good thing is that we kind of solve everything, really. If you were to become a client, we help you with your offer. We make sure it's something that the market wants. We help you increase your value. We help you pick the right price. We help you with your marketing. We build help you build your content. We build your appointment setting team for you. Like for Justin, we're going to help him delegate his sales as soon as possible, okay? And we're going to build a growth team, and then we're going to we're going to pick one person from the growth team to actually become his salesperson, his closer, and then he's going to be removed from sales. And then the next thing is we're going to probably have him hire a decision maker for his delivery, or maybe promote someone who can make that decision or the decisions, and then he's literally just going to be chilling and making content, right? I enjoy making content, right? So it's not really a job. Like, I don't mind doing this because I do it whenever I want. But yeah, 39 minutes, Harvard School, Client Acquisition School of Business, It came out right. I didn't know how this video would come out because I didn't really prepare. I didn't really have a framework to follow. But hopefully you guys loved it. And I love you all. Let's make some money, guys. Like, it's good to be financially free, It's good to have everything that you want, but most importantly, it's good to be able to express your love to other people. Because I think that's what money is for. Money is really like a form of, like, a vehicle of expression, Like, just like I message you could use iMessage to communicate with someone. You could use money to communicate your appreciation, you know, through experiences. Because I don't think the goal is to just, oh, I have a Ferrari. Oh, I go on jets alone. What? That's stupid. Nobody wants to be on a jet alone. So it's about experiences and bringing others into your world, and you take care of them. And yeah, bye-bye. I can talk all day long. Bye-bye.